Hello my 3D printer peeps. I'm here with Creality SOLEYIN PLA Filament. My recent video discussing this filament created quite the conversation, so I went ahead and ordered a bunch of colors for us to put through the test. Unfortunately, this is how it was sent to me. A bunch of SOLEYIN boxes wrapped in Creality bags taped together. I'm not terribly thrilled with how it was sent. However, it does seem to have survived. I think. Matte Moonstone. Almond Purple. Pineapple Yellow. Ocean Blue. Light Green. Here we have 5 spools of Creality SOLEYIN Ultra Filament. And I got a pretty nasty cut opening one of the boxes, so I'm going to go take care of that. Straight away, one of the things I notice is very nice shrink wrapping. All 5 of these spools are shrink wrapped nice and tightly. They each also have a desiccant bag inside. However, I've gotten mixed feedback in comments, with many users saying they found the need to dry this filament more than PLA Ultra and some other brands. We are going to put it to use without drying, straight out of the box, and see how it goes. One of the common complaints that I've seen in responses to my post on SOLEYIN filament is that it doesn't play well with other filaments. In other words, it doesn't bond well with other filaments. Today, we are going to run a few tests swapping back and forth between SOLEYIN filament and another brand to see how well they bond, and if there are any brands that it just simply doesn't bond strongly with. By doing a few test prints, switching between SOLEYIN and other filaments, I will be able to test that strength to find out if the pieces hold together or easily come apart. As a bonus, we are not just going to test SOLEYIN against other filaments. We are going to test SOLEYIN filaments on a Creality CFS and a Bambu AMS. Let's get started. Here I am in Creality Print 6. If you do not see SOLEYIN filament in your filament profile list, go to the bottom and click Add Remove Filament. In here, you will see the option under PLA to add SOLEYIN Ultra PLA. While here, be sure to add anything else that might be missing from your lineup. Press Confirm. I will start with SOLEYIN Yellow, switch to Hyper Blue, switch back to SOLEYIN, and then switch to Elegoo. We will see how the Elegoo holds to the SOLEYIN, holds to the Hyper, holds to the SOLEYIN. To give this a solid chance, I will do 15% gyroid and 3 walls. Sending this off to my K2+. Here I am in Bambu Studio, and we will print on a Bambu Lab X1 Carbon. I am using SOLEYIN Blue, Bambu PLA Basic Red, SOLEYIN Purple, and Adhesive Silk Blue. I will use the generic Silk PLA for the Adhesive and the generic PLA for the SOLEYIN. We have SOLEYIN, Bambu, SOLEYIN, Adhesive. We will go 3 wall loops, detect thin walls. We will go 15% gyroid and reasonable speeds. Off it goes to my X1C. All right, here we are. This is the K2+ bed. This is the X1C bed. Let's have a look at our results. Here is the SOLEYIN Yellow, followed by the Creality RFID Hyper Blue. I didn't even manage to get it off the bed before the SOLEYIN Yellow and the RFID Hyper Blue separated. Next up is Creality Hyper in SOLEYIN. We already know it's not working out. Next up is SOLEYIN and Elegoo Black. Stronger, but still separated quite easily. That leaves us at a total fail. Here we have bed adhesion. This is a Creality K2 Plus, and when the K2 Plus bed cools, the prints usually come right off. I usually have no problem removing these purge and calibration lines, but even with a little tool, I'm struggling. For the stuck filament on the K2 Plus bed, I'm gonna break out the big guns, the BQ Panda Edge. I bet y'all make fun of this when you see them advertising online. Here we are with the X1C print bed. This is the X1C Purge Tower. This is Bambu Studio version 2. And here we have a first layer again of SOLEYIN. This time I got it off the bed. Here is the first layer on the textured bamboo bed. Came off just fine. That leaves us with two things, print quality and bondage to other filaments. Print quality on the Bambu is absolutely fantastic. I do believe it looks even better than it does on the K2 Plus test print. Let's go ahead and test the strength. Came right off, came right off. SOLEYIN to Bambu PLA Basic, fail. Next up again is Bambu PLA Basic to SOLEYIN, total fail. Next up, SOLEYIN to Adhesive Silk. Stronger, yet still separated quite easily. And that leaves us with a grand total of Fail City. SOLEYIN versus Creality Hyper, SOLEYIN versus Adhesive, SOLEYIN versus Bambu PLA, SOLEYIN versus Elegoo PLA Plus. All of them good quality print, poor bonding between filaments. We're seeing that SOLEYIN filaments don't get along with other filaments, but maybe we can just slice it in a certain way to help them bond better and get along better so that we can use SOLEYIN with other filaments because maybe you want to. Let's pop back into the slicer and try a few adjustments. Here I am back in Creality Print 6, and I'm going to apply beam interlocking in an effort to make these filaments get along and bond better with SOLEYIN filament. To do that, make sure Advanced is turned on. Go here to Multi-Filament, and under Advanced, turn on Use Beam Interlocking. Check the box. Because these are fairly small parts, making this a difficult test, I'm going to go with a deeper interlocking depth. I'm going to go to 4. When I slice this model, we can now see the interlocking between the two filaments. You'll see it again here, interlocking between the two filaments. And again, here, interlocking between the two filaments. Let's send this off to the K2 Plus and see what happens. Since Bambu Studio does not support beam interlocking, I'm going to use Creality Print 6 to send beam interlocking test to my X1C. I'm about to hurt your brain. I will use the pull-down menu, choose Select Remove Printers, choose BBL, and select Plus Bambu Lab X1 Carbon. Press Confirm, press Transfer, and here I am in the Bambu Lab X1 Carbon profile in Creality Print 6. We now have beam interlocking on our Bambu printers. Slice and dice, and I will choose Export Plate Sliced File. However, when exporting for X1C, instead of using G-code, we are going to use 3MF. All right, next thing I'm going to do is throw an octopus on the Ender 5 Max with the SOLEYIN filament. All right, peeps, here I am with some more SOLEYIN filament tests. On the right, I've got the X1C test with interlocking, and on the left, I've got the K2 Plus test with interlocking. And right here, I did a straight octopus from Xiao 3D at like 150%. Let's see what we got. Let's start with the easy part. This is a single color print using SOLEYIN on an Ender 5 Max. The SOLEYIN filament came off the Ender 5 Max, no problem whatsoever, and the octopus looks really good. It's jiggly, the articulations are working, I like the color, and the print quality is good. It also feels pretty darn strong. Good news, popped off the bed no problem. So SOLEYIN filament, Ender 5 Max, thumbs up. Here we are on the Bambu Lab X1C. I did this in Creality Print 6 and used filament interlocking. The purge tower came right off the bed. There's the print. There's the calibration. No problem on the X1C textured bed. However, I typically use the smooth PEI bed with my Bambus, but textured bed, X1C is a go. We have SOLEYIN, we have Bambu Lab PLA Basic Red, we have SOLEYIN, we have Acidity Multicolor Silk. This is a small test print. I don't expect extreme strength, but I expect stronger strength. Okay, there you go. The interlocking has helped. I gave it a pretty solid tug on all joints and they stayed together. Unfortunately, the interlocking did cause a tremendous increase in print time. However, if you need it, interlocking looks to be the key, getting multiple filaments and SOLEYIN to get along. Here we are on the K2 Plus. This is also interlocking, sliced in Creality Print 6. And would you look at that? Did you see how easy that came off the bed? You see how easy that came off the bed? Did you see how easy that came off the bed? Did you see how easy that came off the bed? The BQ Panda Edge surely helped, but that's not the secret. The secret is adhesive. Yes, you heard me. I said adhesive, also known as glue. This here is the only adhesive I use on any printer. It's worth noting that BQ has a similar product because, of course they do. While I haven't tested this yet, the bottle literally looks identical. The only difference is the label and the color. However, having not tested that yet, let's talk about this. This is Bambu Lab liquid adhesive. Contrary to popular belief, most of the time a skilled 3D printer uses a glue or adhesive. It's not to help the print stay on the bed. It's to protect the bed from the print staying on the bed too strongly. Without this adhesive, I couldn't get the SOLEYIN print off my bed. I couldn't get the purge and calibration lines off my bed. They were holding on for dear life. With this, I've created a surface between the bed and the print, and it allowed me to get that print and those calibration lines off easily. As a bonus, yes, it sure does help your bed adhesion as well. I use this by taking a general guess of where the footprint of my model is going to be, and I just put a thin layer over that section. For this test print, I went along the purge lines and the calibration lines because it gave me such a problem. You can see it. It's very thin. It's almost nothing. With some IPA. So for bed adhesion and bed removal, even on the K2+, I'm going to give it one of these, right? Because it's holding great, and that's the priority. I'd take too strong adhesion over too weak. However, I did find in my initial test it was a little strong, but with a little adhesive, which I usually use anyway, it came off no problem. So go ahead and check out the Bambu Lab or the BQ1. The Bambu Lab is only available on Bambu's web store. The BQ you can get on Amazon. This is my secret weapon in my 3D printing workshop. I did not dry the filament at all, and I have virtually, almost zero stringing, no imperfections, no sign of moisture whatsoever. If I did, I'd simply pop on my heat gun and give it a quick little brush. Wet stringing. This leaves us with one more test. The K2+, SOLEYIN, RFID Hyper, SOLEYIN, Elegoo Black. SOLEYIN and Hyper came right apart. And that's pretty strong. That's pretty strong. SOLEYIN and Hyper. SOLEYIN and Elegoo Black. Oh, wow. SOLEYIN and Elegoo Black. Okay. SOLEYIN and Hyper. Interesting. SOLEYIN and Bambu. Bambu and SOLEYIN. SOLEYIN and Adhesive. Elegoo and SOLEYIN. SOLEYIN and Hyper. Oddly enough, the two Creality brands bound together the weakest. So where does that leave us? Creality Print 6 has SOLEYIN profiles. Creality's printers have SOLEYIN as options in their firmware. The SOLEYIN printed very clean and very nice on my K2+, my 5 Max, and my X1C. Without interlocking, the SOLEYIN certainly had issues bonding with other filaments. If you are doing multicolor prints that require a strong bond, SOLEYIN might not be the choice for you. However, each individual color looks really nice, and for single color prints, I can't see any reason not to use it. Interlocking worked really well. However, interlocking adds a tremendous amount of time to your print. When considering working with SOLEYIN, you're going to have to think about its weak bond to other brands, and you are going to have to test yourself. These are small prints. I expect them to be weak. It's an extreme torture test. If it was a bigger model, they probably would have held okay. However, how easily I broke them definitely speaks to an issue. There are other brands we can test with. However, I've done enough brands to note that it's definitely a topic worth discussing and testing on your own. I will probably stick to other brands for multicolor unless I need one of these nice colors, and they are nice, that SOLEYIN offers. Speaking of nice colors, I have no doubt I am going to make a whole bunch of single color or even multicolor prints that don't require a ton of strength. For example, prints that have entire parts in separate colors rather than lots of filament swaps using the SOLEYIN. I like the texture, I like the color, and it printed well, so I don't see why not. That said, it looks like SOLEYIN is a bit of a mixed bag. However, it's a budget filament and it just might be good enough for you. I'm Mr. Greg. This is SOLEYIN Filament, and you're on 3D Rundown. Here we are on the Ender 5. Here we are on the Ender 5. Here we are on the K2 Plus.